Today, the governors of the Southwest region have launched a security system called Operation Amotekun to help secure the region from spate of violence and insecurity. And the presidency has hit at the opposition PDP, saying it is the single biggest obstacle to good governance in Nigeria and change that the country needs and the people are yearning for. 'Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm sure Kimalaya, Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Tonight we're talking about one very sensitive matter in Nigeria. That matter a lot of people have dodged or tried to avoid talking about, but it does look like something that looks like the yearnings of a lot of people is happening. It's going to be in southwest region of the country. But first, let's tell you about what the presidency has come out to say today. The presidency has hit at the main opposition political party, the People's Democratic Party. The president told the PDP today that the party represents the single biggest obstacle to good governance in Nigeria and change that the country needs and the people are yearning for. The presidency went further to say that both self-respect and sound political judgment demand that the party takes an introspective look at itself after two successive defeats in national elections, asking what went wrong and how to fix its battered image. The presidency is also telling the PDP that they need to go back to the people in towns and villages to know what the people want and what the country needs. Instead of doing that, they are taking roles for themselves that are not mandated by the law, morality, or political gamemanship. The presidency is angry over a statement credited to the PDP on the love or the lack of it between the presidency, the president and his party. The presidency says that is not why they lost elections, telling the PDP that it is they're advising the PDP that it needs a reboot that aligns with current national mood and aspirations to focus on the grim future after two successive defeats. Those are the words of the presidency there to the main opposition, PDP, who perhaps will be hearing a reply from the PDP. Let's begin our conversation tonight, and it's about the Southwest state. Well, if you say which of the Southwest state, you're talking about Lagos, Oyo State, Ogun State, Ondo, Ekiti states. Those are the states of the Southwest. Today, the governors of those states have launched Amotekun, the joint security outfit by Southwest governors. The launch took place at in Ibadan, the Oyo State. So the secretariat of the state, the 6 state governors had constituted the outfit to tackle challenges of insecurity, including kidnapping and banditry in the region. While all the governors who are expected to be in attendance, Olurotimi Akeredolu, Kayode Ifayemi, and Seyi Makinde, the host governor, were present. Dr. Abiodun Oyetola and Babajide Sanwo-Olu were absent. Some of them were represented at that event.
For us, this initiative conceived to secure a geopolitical space is so important to us. And today, that we are arriving at this point of its execution, we want to thank the Almighty God for allowing us to be at this point. Until recently, it has become very embarrassing when you have reports of security breaches as they occur on a daily basis. Most of us are so worried. We have been so worried about it. We cannot predict the exactitude of where this unfortunate disturbance will take place. Hence, we felt that a combined effort of all of us will be very necessary. It will save us from all this banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, armed robbery, herdsmen and farmers conflict, clashes for ritual killings, and cyber crime. The current situation in the country demands pragmatic and proactive solutions.
That's the chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum and the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, and giving the reasons why they launched Operation Amotekun. Amotekun, I understand, is a Yoruba word for leopard. Well, whatever birthed that name or whatever it signifies, it does look like a code name for the security operation around the southwest region of the country. So let's look at it. What is Operation Amotekun, or the security outfit called Operation Amotekun? Is it a police sort of agency or arm or outfit, or is it a state policing kind of thing, or a community policing kind of outfit that's been set up, or what exactly how would you categorize it? Is it supported by law? Because there are some items in the Constitution that are on the exclusive list, and there are others that are on concurrent list. Don't forget, there's been a lot of conversations around restructuring in Nigeria, and one of the issues is state policing. Well, some people will say community policing. The Nigerian Police Force will say they've in fact begun the community policing in Nigeria. So let's get down to it. What is the implication of this initiative from the governors of the Southwest to say we want to secure our people and we want to do it in a certain way? Will this conflict with the federal police? How will the Amotekun operate across the region of the country? Let's get to the conversation and get some perspective to it. I have joining me tonight Mr. GT Ogunye and a former AIG Amankolo, who joins us from Abuja studio. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight on the program. AIG Amankolo, perhaps I should begin with you and get a sense of what you make of what was done today in Ibadan. The initiative by the state governor. How do you see it? Is it alien to our system of policing? Are they just going to be an outfit like any other private security outfit? How do you think they are going to operate? What do you know about this operation?
So I think it's novel, as far as one can say. It's a novel idea. But it's not out of place. Why it's novel for me is that Southwest is not the only part of the country that has security problems. The Southeast, for instance, or South, and other parts of the country. One expects that we'll have all of them together at the same time. But if we don't have them at the same time, it's possible the security architecture will be built up, beginning with this Southwest experiment. So I expect that sooner than later, other regions will join.
Give us a sense of what the implication of this. And if you look at it, is this a big statement on the federal police that it has failed, on the security architecture of the country that it is failing, and what place will this Amotekun have in the southwest region of the country?
No, it wouldn't amount to failure on the part of the police. The policing job is a lot of responsibility. It's just that we think it is a small thing to be handled. After all, what's the army doing? The army is doing part of police job. So the police job is so vast that even the whole country joining hands will not be able to contain the insecurity. They can only contain it to some extent. But the good thing is that every hands must be on deck. But let it not be one-sided. Let the Southeast, let other parts of the country be as secured as the Southwest is going to be now. That would be a good one. But it's not
Eji Amankulo,
it's not
would
that
you
the police
describe?
has failed.
Would you describe quickly, in one breath, before I come to Mr. Ogunye, would you describe Operation Amotekun or the Amotekun security outfit as a form of policing?
Of course it is. It's an informal, it's not a formal. The formal is a different architecture. The Amotekun will be informal to a very large extent. So they will always assist the police. And that would be a good one.
Mr. Ogunye, give us what the law says about Amotekun. Is it protected by law?
We've not seen the law. The Constitution, and I'm referencing Section 214, provides luminously that we shall only have one police force in Nigeria. And subject to the provision of that section, no other police force shall be established for any part of the country other than the Nigerian police force. So it's a unitary police force. However, has been acknowledged by everybody, Nigeria is under-policed. That's the truth. That's why we've been having other security agencies being created, including the blue-shirted NDSC, the military doing internal security operation, etc., etc. In every neighbors, virtually in all parts of the country, we have neighborhood guards who are armed. In Lagos, many estates, buy weapons for licensed weapons for their guards to protect them. So Nigeria is under-policed, and we shouldn't hide that fact. And so initiatives like this underscore the point that if we were to be charitable, we would say that although the Nigeria Police Force has not failed, but it's not been able in its operational coverage and adequacy to police all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. So there's a yawning gap, and there is need for something like this. Now, this, for me, is dictated by need, by exigency. Because security of life and property is basic. It's very basic to human existence. Indeed, all human endeavor and pursuits, depend on the security of life and property. Because if you are not secure as an individual, you cannot even pursue anything, pursue happiness and so on and so forth. So it's dictated by need. And yes, like the retired AIG has said, this is not replicated in all the parts of the country right now. But in the spirit of the Southwest, we can say, okay, they set the pace. When the first television station was established in 1959 in Western Nigeria, there was no television station all over the country, not even on the African continent. And so a model like this can serve as something that other regions in the country can look at, so that with the experimentation, those who are opposed to the idea of federalizing the police force, including having police forces in localities, can have their agitations and their anxiety reduced. If this goes very well in the next 1 or 2 years, other regions can also replicate. In any case, before the advent of this, in our part of the country, we also have something similar on state level being organized, the Ishba police, whatever, all over the place. And so this is novel, as been said, is also noble.
Okay.
And I think that is the way to go in grassrooting policing in Nigeria. And as you said, and I want to call, Amotekun in Yoruba is tiger. Tekun is
okay.
Ekun is leopard,
okay,
and lion
okay.
is Kinu, right? So, so if we are to take the police force as the lion of policing in Nigeria, this Amotekun is not going to rival it. It can only complement his work.
So we'll talk about the operational modalities of this. But then I'm saying from the legal and political point of view, another angle to governance and the structure of this country. The Amotekun is a regionalism concept of governance and structure. We are operating federalism. That's another interesting angle that we will explore when we come back. I'm a student of federalism. I'm a student of advanced democracy. We'll talk about what this means for Nigeria, our federalism, and the concept the Southwest governors are operating presently with Amotekun. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So there seems to be some academic efforts here. I was having some conversation with Mr. Ogunye, who is my guest here, when we were on break, on the concept that is emerging from what the Southwest governors had put out today in the Operation Amotekun. Now, it's going to be a kind of regional policing structure. Will it affect or be in consonance with the federal policing structure? So if we're having a regional policing structure, then it then means that we are buying or we're taking a regional system of government. Does the present structure in Nigeria support that? We say we are operating a federal system of government. Though a lot of people will argue that it is a quasi-unitary federal system of government. A lot of political science professors might understand what I'm saying, but it might sound academic. But in essence, the cooperation between these states within the region is it's a similar thing we saw in 1963, where Nigeria operated what looked like a regional system of government. Let me get my guests back into the conversation. AIG, a retired AIG, Amankolo, in our Abuja studio. Mr. G.T. Ogunye, a lawyer, giving us a sense of what this means in terms of our constitution. Mr. Ogunye, regionalism is what we're seeing playing out in some way here. A lot of people have advised that we should go back to 1963 when the issues of restructuring Nigeria comes to the table. Is it the reality of our time?
It's something that we are running away from, but something that we invariably and inevitably encounter as we go on. I have always stated that our states in Nigeria are artificial creation, largely created by the military for reasons other than the need to have those states at that time. People stage coup, and so their compatriots with whom they stage coup will be restless. They needed to be given a fiefdom of their own. Otherwise, they will be restive enough to stage another coup. And so they started creating states. And so before we knew what would happen, we were 36.
Are we confused?
And so these 36 states are fledgling, they are atomized, and they are not states created in accordance with the principles of units of a federation being created under the principle of federalism. Because you have to create them, according to linguistic or lingual lines or cultural or ethnic lines. So we have these states now, and we think that those are the best we could do with, right? So efforts like this may call our attention to the need to look at Nigeria's structure all over again. We talked about the cost of administering Nigeria. We talk about our recurrent expenditure. Okay? People have been making suggestions that we should even look at the possibility of a unicameral legislature, including legislators themselves, who are now advocating that there are too many, right?
And they spend too much money.
They spend too much money.
Those are some of the arguments.
So we will need to look at, you can't run away from the structure of Nigeria. People may paper over this and think that it's not important. Let's just improve the economy. If we have the money, we have sufficient money to spend. Hey, we're not going to have it like that anymore.
Mr. Ogunye, some of the items on the restructuring agenda by the proponents of restructuring in Nigeria today, it looks so much that gradually they are being picked one after the other based on exigency, as you said.
But let me just say this before we run too far. This initiative is new, is novel. Query, is there a legislation backing it up yet? No. If the participating state were to envision a legislation, how would they do it? Can all of them all together have a legislation? No, because they are states, distinct states. So would they then have a uniform legislation and then have their parliaments, to replicate this? We don't know. So what's going to be the protocols, the relationship between this force and the Nigerian police force? Can they investigate?
Can they prosecute?
Can they prosecute? If they can't do that, so would they just apprehend offenders and hand them over to the Nigerian police force for investigation and then prosecution? What's going to be the nature of the collaboration?
Can they handle arms and ammunition?
And so on and so forth.
A lot of operational issues.
All these are still in the works. But regardless of how hazy it may be, I'm saying that this is dictated by necessity. If you've had anybody kidnapped on the highway, paying ransom, including university lecturer and all that, people being killed in territory that are not policed, right? You won't be talking about the niceties of law and all that.
Okay.
I think that this is something that is commendable, and I think that we can work out the details. The devils is in the details.
Mr. Ogunye, you as a lawyer, if you go to court and challenge this move today, will it fall flat on its face?
You see, I'll answer the question this way. Not too long ago, a justice of the Court of Appeal was kidnapped. So don't think that judges are like ostriches who bury their heads in the sand. They're also concerned about security and safety. I'm just saying that states, government, have a responsibility under the Constitution, which provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Not secondary. And so, in the face of that kind of provision of the Constitution, there can be sufficient justification for this. And so if you go to court to challenge its legality, you may just be on your own.
AIG Amankulo, give us a sense, and you perhaps will lead us to the end of the show tonight. Give us a sense of how the operations will be. Will the Amotekun, can they prosecute? I guess no is the answer. Can they arrest? Can they handle arms based on the act that backs our policing in Nigeria? What do you think would be their operation? Would they be at loggerheads with the Nigerian Federal Police? What would be happening? If you can do that within the next 60 seconds so that we can close.
All right. So far, so good, and so bad. So good because we look forward to a future that can work together with the police. That is the primary security outfit. But so bad if other regions are not brought into this picture, into this level of policing. Because before the Southwest runs away with the ideas, they should do it in such a way that they don't go too far before many mistakes are made. It will be better other regions are given this same opportunity so that they begin to manage how to handle this situation. How do you arrest? Of course, arresting is a very simple thing, but very volatile if you don't know how to arrest. Otherwise, everybody can arrest. Everybody could have the powers of arrest, but you have to handle it properly.
All right. Because of our time, we are obviously out of time. Mr. Uzo Amankulo, retired Assistant Inspector General of Police. Thank you so much for talking to us. And Mr. GT Ogunye, your lawyer, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
I will flash some of your tweets to us that you sent to us, Mr. Ekanem at Ice Ekanem. As long as security of lives and property is one of the constitutional responsibilities of state governors, then the Southwest governors are in order. After all, the North has ISBA, or what is the difference? Comrade Danudi at Comrade under Danudi says, I don't think there will be anyone that will be against regional or state police, but our fear is the autocratic nature of our state governors who may end up using them against their own political rivals. So with those your tweets, we end the show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.